Well, here's an article back from 2015 stating that if you're planning on visiting Egypt to see the pyramids anytime soon, you may have another monument you want to add to your list. Well, a new monument they're talking about. Last month, Egypt's housing minister announced plans for a 650-foot tall pyramid skyscraper that'll be known as the Zayed Crystal Spark. Yes, a skyscraper pyramid. The term is more than just an accurate description of the Zayed Crystal Spark. These two words perfectly sum up the contrast the building embodies between the modern and ancient, a contrast that besets the entire country. The new building will be the tallest in the country, and I believe it's the tallest in all of North Africa. South African Cape has some huge buildings in it. The Great Pyramid of Giza, by comparison, is 481 foot high, and according to the Cairo Post, the Zayed Crystal Spark will be a multi-purpose building located in the Sheikh Zayed district outside of Cairo. It's an administrative, commercial, and entertainment project as it includes buildings for various purposes, Egypt's Minister of Housing, Mustafa Madbouli, said. So this is something they've been working on, and I don't know at what point they are. I tried to find out if they've got it in construction so I could show you a picture of it even at their current point, but I can't really find anything on that. And most articles are about this whenever they release the information, which was some 7 years ago. So one of the biggest appeals and points of fascination with the ancient pyramids is, of course, the mystery. This new one leaves little to the imagination. The structure is going to be made of glass and is going to be flashy, and there will be reflecting pools. And from the photos, it looks less like it belongs in the same city as the ancient pyramids and more like it belongs in Las Vegas. Or if not Vegas, perhaps Egypt's new glitzy capital they're starting. Here's a look at what this is going to look like here. And so you can see kind of they got a roundabout going in front of it, but over at the right and the left they have some type of park. Now to me, I thought they're playing on that Crystal Tower Park, Crystal Spark kind of thing in it, but the other spark idea is that the tower here will also have a beam pointing up to the sky, just like the one in Vegas, although it's very narrow. If you look at it, it seems somewhat like the tower that is a pyramid that's in San Francisco, rather than, Trans Am building or whatever, rather than something that would fit under the sacred geometry of Egypt. But in front of it, it looks like there's that pyramid shape that we all understand well and lower, and it has a glowing top that's going to be onto it too, but I don't think it's going to be putting a beam up. So people will be able to see this for a long way off, and I wonder how close it is actually to the pyramids, if you'll be able to see them in the distance somewhat. My understanding is this is quite a bit of miles away, but then again, with flat look at them and they're off in the distance themselves, perhaps so. And of course, if you were at the pyramids, you should be able to see the beam regardless. But so a new project here, but let's look at some of the other pictures that they've given of the idea here to get more of a concept. Here it's shown almost metallic, flashing, shining, which can be a problem in buildings somewhat, but you see it's really got a park built around it. And then up in the top right hand corner and running across is a set of buildings that are all facing out to it that looks something like buildings in Las Colinas, Dallas, the ones that they used in RoboCop and a few other movies that are real futuristic. But here we can also see that pyramid is extremely pointy, but the one in front of it is just an aspect ratio whenever you're out there in front of it coming up, that it would look like that. But as you go around it in any way, it seems more mastaba-ish, built way back, and again the very top part of it is going to be lit also, but here you can see that beam going up. There's a walkway going around this park that's outside here, so I wonder where their water source is and how close it is to a piece of the Nile that they can get that there. But what I understand with what they're going to do with this new city, water will not be a real problem for them. But this will have to be purified and cured water if they're going to end up putting a Bellagio type setup in it, which is what's shown in a couple of the other pictures here. Also, this walkway that goes around that's in white seems to disappear at one point, and one person's talking about this in their article, said that there was an underground walkway. I wonder if they're talking about that rather than something that's hooking up into the pyramid shape or the building itself, or something that's down below it and so on, because it looks like it goes for a while and then stops and then continues, kind of shaped like a question mark too, by the way. So there's that mystery perhaps to the pyramids. And here's one more picture of it, kind of shows you that question mark that's there, where they're, I guess, wondering if this is the way it's going to end up. And this park that's all built around it like a water park, I think it's pretty neat. I hope they have a big aquarium inside of the structure there. A lot of hotels and big buildings like that will, is something extra fancy they build into it. And now you can see on the right hand side the buildings that I was all talking about that are going to be some type of administrative and all of that for the new Egypt's main city or whatever. And it's called Urban Communities Authority, and that area that's there, and another look at it and a perspective idea from a slightly different angle. You can see it's quite reflective, but because it's at that angle, I'm not sure that, well, at one point the sun is going to reflect off of that down towards the ground. I know in Dallas and all the big major cities, they have problems with that whenever they build a totally glass structure like that, because it ends up being so reflective. So I wonder if that was trying to figure in perhaps an angle that's going to help them on that. But this definitely looks like they're trying to get more like the Western world, if you will, rather than something that embraces their past. But it also, to me, looks like it has a little of that flavor of both. And you've got to embrace that, whether it's in Saudi Arabia where they're doing and building that whole area out here, or Egypt finally stepping up to the plate and building something of a much more modern state. It's probably going to bring a lot more tourists and high-end people to this type of area. Looks pretty neat, but let me know what you think down below, if they should have built it maybe on different angles or such. You can see how many floors they've got in this depiction that's shown here, with the floors being lit and so on. And to me, it looks like if they would have made the thing about the same height, but almost the footprint of the whole white cube down below it, coming up to that peak, perhaps in front of it building another that leads into it, or whichever way they wanted to do, that would be, you know, much more appealing to the eye, pleasing. But it also may have been too large, with it already being 660 feet total with the spire on top, which looks like it's covering about 100 foot of it anyhow. So 500 foot of building here, topped off and knocked off at the top there. Down below, perhaps it could have been somewhat wider. I'm not sure if this is even the end project of what they've got going with. To be honest with you, I just now found this out, and looking through a couple of pictures, I was like, what's that? And I went to an article and then went back, put in different statements, and then looked up a few different people's articles, but I can't find anything of the modern construction or even exact placement where they've got it going in. If you can, leave me some article or something that you know about it, or some info if they're going to start it or if they're redoing it or whatever, down in the comments. Peace.